Imagine, if you will, being a Disney executive in 2025, and you're genuinely flabbergasted that you've lost Gen Z men and boys. That they're not engaging with your products anymore, and you seriously have no idea why. You're just sitting there, just like I said, you're flabbergasted. You're just like, well, how did this happen? How did this happen? How is this possible? No, it has nothing to do with the fact that you've spent their entire lives essentially virtue signaling to, communists and gays and women, you know, the force is female, nothing but girl power moments. It's stupid. It's obvious what happened, but now they're sitting there trying to figure out a way to walk all this shit back to try to get Gen Z men to engage with their products again. And I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off. I mean, it's Disney. They have the resources, and the cultural clout that they could potentially, figure out a way to kind of navigate this shitstorm that they created for themselves. But yeah, no. According to Variety, Disney Studio seeks original IP to win back Gen Z men amid Marvel and Lucasfilm struggles. Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty aren't the only ones looking for a prince. Leadership at Walt Disney Studios has been pressing Hollywood creatives in recent months. Multiple sources tell Variety for movies that will bring young men back to the brand in a meaningful way. Young men, quote unquote, is defined here by sources as ages 13 to 28, aka Gen Z. First, duh. God, you could tell a millennial wrote this. I don't care about that shit. Anyway, first, duh, every film studio is looking for better ways to convert young audiences into habitual moviegoers. Numerous studies show that Gen Z men in particular are a lonely, gaming obsessed group who were hampered in their formative years by COVID-19 lockdowns. Not the easiest segment to grasp. But what's surprising producers, writers, and other partners in the larger industry is that Disney has been calling for original concepts to lure the demo back to the movies. Yeah, we need original movies to they want to like try to do something new to try to win back young men. I really don't think first of all, Disney is more like with the exception of a few I mean, is more of a girls brand. Now, chicks like Marvel, chicks like Star Wars, whatever, but like those are very much like male dominated things. So Disney had something to appeal to males, but they butchered it. They fucked it all up. They did this shit to themselves. But yeah, other than like Marvel and Star Wars and like maybe Tron, Disney has been a very, like a lot of the Disney movies, like they appeal mostly to girls. Like I know some men who like Disney movies, but not a ton. It's more of a girls thing, to be fair. Because I mean, the princesses, with the exception of like maybe Aladdin, like the Lion King and things like that, most of the protagonists of those movies are girls. There do tend to be secondary protagonists who are men, but like or who are males or whatever. But generally speaking, it's very girl coded stuff. So yeah, it's just they had something, but then they fumbled two bags. They had Marvel Comics, they had Star Wars, two of the biggest bags, and they fumbled both of them. This is the same Disney whose multi-billion-dollar content engines, Marvel and Lucasfilm, have sated men of all ages over almost 2 decades since the company acquired them. The sources say Disney has been seeking new IP and pitches such as splashy global adventures and treasure hunts, as well as seasonal fare like films for the Halloween corridor. The calls come as the Star Wars machine struggles to produce any film project, and the superhero genre sheds audiences by the minute. I mean, not only do you just suck at making superhero films anymore, but but like superhero fatigue is real. Like people are just kind of sick of it. I mean, for fuck's sake, the James. I mean, this is Warner Brothers, but the James Gunn Superman didn't even beat Man of Steel at the box office because Man of Steel is a better film. But regardless, like you know, just sold demonstrably fewer tickets. While two insiders say the mandate to recruit young males goes as high as the C-suite, the task primarily has fallen on David Greenbaum, the former Searchlight Pictures co-head brought in 2024 to run Disney's live-action film business. That label has been sorely lacking in guy-leaning fare, like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise for nearly 10 years. Studio insiders say the property is in active development, though not in its last reported iteration involving Margot Robbie. Good, because the gender swapped Margot Robbie Pirates of the Caribbean, that was going to flop on its ass. It was going to be a $200 million, $300 million movie, and it was going to flop on its ass super hard. So I'm glad they kind of shelved that. To say nothing of the last lackluster attempt to reboot and hand off Indiana Jones in 2023, which earned $383 million worldwide on a $300 million budget before marketing costs. A Disney source says that movies for Gen Z men are part of an overall strategy across all labels, but no more urgent than any other quadrant. Like everything they had that appealed to men, they ruined by trying to force like women into it, like unnecessarily. Like there were female characters in Marvel and Star Wars. Like you didn't have to make the Acolyte, which was just so fucking just gay and just stupid. And of course it's gonna turn Gen Z men off. It's gonna turn millennial men. It's gonna turn everybody off, except for the red letter media guys who hate everything except for Disney Star Wars, apparently. Greenbaum recently hired Daria Sirchek, the savvy former Paramount Pictures co-chief, to assist in this effort. Greenbaum is beloved by talent, but has largely existed in the prestige indie sphere, while Kerchak shepherds films from franchises like Sonic the Hedgehog, A Quiet Place, and Smile. Some think the push for this demographic is simply Greenbaum trying to put his stamp on live action. Yet numerous power players who spoke with Variety see something ominous in the tea leaves. When the execution is correct, Disney's sweet spot at the movies has been millennials, the generation rapidly consuming classic vault titles like The Lion King, 101 Dalmatians, and Lilo and Stitch. Now, millennials, we were alive for The Lion King and Lilo and Stitch. That was, Lion King came out in like, what was it, 90, like 95, something like that. And then Lilo and Stitch came out in 2000, 2001, 2002, somewhere in that area. I can't remember exactly. But like that was peak millennialism, 90s kids. Now, 101 Dalmatians came out in the 60s. Like that was, that was a baby boomer movie. But we loved it regardless. We grew up watching it. Now they bring their children in droves to see live action reboots. This year's billion-dollar grosser, Lilo and Stitch, over indexed with men and boys. Disney previously said Gen Z is a different story. Built-in interest is not nearly as guaranteed for such an audience, which propelled Warner Brothers' A Minecraft movie to nearly $1 billion haul. That was a game Gen Z played as very small kids, not to mention the euphoric viral moments it created for young men, filming key moments inside multiplexes and sharing them on platforms like TikTok. See also the Universal Pictures Gentle Minions trend in 2022 when Gen Z bros packed the theaters in suits and ties for Minions: The Rise of Gru. I don't even remember that trend. I'm sure there was a thing, that was a viral thing that managed to just slip under my radar. Thank the gods. As it stands, Disney is in line with Sony Pictures and Paramount in its market share for Gen Z, 10% of ticket buyers in 2024. That's 2 points above Universal and 2 points below Warner's. But Disney is not leaving the job of courting Gen Z entirely up to the film group. Concurrent to Greenbaum's hire, the corporation bought a $1.5 billion equity stake in gaming juggernaut Fortnite, which will incorporate Disney's iconic stable of characters. Two sources say Disney does not, however, enjoy movie rights to Fortnite itself, which would seem a no-brainer in luring Gen Z to theaters. Like, yeah, sure, if they can figure out a way to make a Fortnite movie, especially where like the Minecraft movie did so well. Yes, Disney was the unrefuted king of box office last year. It will win again this year with two films potentially crossing the $1 billion mark: Avatar: Fire and Ash and Zootopia 2. Four movies from four Disney labels have grossed more than $1 billion in the past 16 months. No other studio has had one in that time frame. So it's staggering to rival studios And dealmakers at Disney is looking to blaze new trails after years of being the envy of the town, having counted for so long on sure things from the worlds of Iron Man and the Jedi. Disney CEO Bob Iger confirmed as much on a quarterly earnings call this month, saying his film group won't favor existing IPs over original material. The priority, Iger said, is to put out great movies. Yeah, well, then why haven't you been doing it? Like, these movies are dog shit. Even the ones that make $1 billion, they're not good films. Walt Disney Studios declined to provide comment for this story. I don't blame them. Much has been written about the narrowing audience for superhero movies. The performance of Marvel's latest release, Fantastic Four: First Steps, which aimed to launch yet another superhero franchise led by Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby, failed to meet expectations. First of all, that's despite good reviews, a promising opening weekend, and the full attention of Marvel czar Kevin Feige. Star Wars has not produced a film in 7 years. A big screen adaptation of the Disney Plus hit The Mandalorian is coming next year. Yeah, we'll see how that Mandalorian movie does. I think it'll flop. And like Fantastic Four movies have never really done that well. I mean, the early 2000s Fantastic Four movies starring Ian Gifford and Jessica Alba and Chris Evans, like I think they did okay. Like the first one did well enough to get a sequel. I don't know. I'm not sure about box office for the sequel, but like Fantastic Four movies have never been like a huge property because the Fantastic Four just really isn't that fucking popular. They're not. They're just not. And not only do people have superhero fatigue, people appear to have fucking Pedro Pascal fatigue. People are sick of seeing him and everything. I was just recently watching Game of Thrones. The 4th season of Game of Thrones, like he's there, he's utilized really well, his performance is great, and then they kill him off at the end of the season. So, there's like the perfect amount of Pedro Pascal. And that was the thing that kind of like launched his career, really. I mean, he'd been acting before then, obviously, but like that's how I learned about Pedro Pascal was season 4 of Game of Thrones when he played Oberyn Martell. That's how a lot of people like learned about him. But then they tried to shove him in every fucking thing. And he's good, but Jesus Christ, he's not fucking Daniel Day-Lewis reborn, you know what I mean? On top of film executive at a Disney, one top film executive at a Disney rival says every studio should be looking for original. The sequels and reboots continue to exhaust the culture, even if they're packing in moviegoers in the short term. Quote, I never thought I'd say it, the exec muses about the Magic Kingdom's Boy Troubles despite its gem box of iconic IP, but it looks like Disney's going to have to start trying. Yeah, and I bet they're gonna suck at it. Like, I don't know, maybe they can turn out something decent that'll blow people's minds, but like, I kind of doubt it. Like, I see Disney just kind of like I think their cultural clout has been dried up because of how badly they fucked up the last 10 years. Like, yeah, they've had a handful of $1 billion movies. Good fucking like good job for them, but like honestly, it's not like I don't see them like this course correction is not gonna. I don't think it's gonna save them. Really. I think we're going to continue to see the big studios decline. I think, but I could be wrong. Tell me how wrong you think I am in the comments below. And be sure to do all the algorithm stuff for me, with all the liking and the subscribing and the clicking of the links. And of course, don't forget the throwing of the bones.